Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, your go-to destination for the latest in South African politics, economy, and social developments. If you care about what's happening in the country and how it affects you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's dive into one of the most turbulent and defining weeks in South Africa's recent history. South Africa is reeling under the weight of a perfect storm, a volatile mix of political instability, economic hardship, and widespread social unrest that has pushed the nation into what many analysts are calling an unprecedented crisis. From parliament walkouts to mass protests, power outages to inflation spikes, the country is teetering on the edge, and millions of South Africans are feeling the pressure like never before. Let's start at the heart of the storm, the political crisis. This week began with a dramatic and deeply symbolic moment in Parliament, as opposition parties staged a walkout during a heated debate over national budget allocations. The walkout, seen as a protest against what opposition leaders described as mismanagement and indifference by the ruling party, has fueled public outrage. South Africans have grown weary of political theatre while real issues, like unemployment, poverty, and failing infrastructure, remain unaddressed. For the ordinary citizen, these political games are more than just headlines, they represent a disconnect between leadership and the lived reality of millions. Across social media and on the streets, people are demanding accountability. Many feel that Parliament is increasingly out of touch with the urgency of the crises on the ground. Economically, the country is suffocating. Inflation has hit South Africans hard, with the cost of food, fuel, and electricity climbing steadily. The South African Reserve Bank has already warned that inflationary pressures will likely remain high in the near future, leaving families and individuals to brace for even tougher times. The price of basic groceries has become a source of daily stress, especially for the working class and those living below the poverty line. Adding to this already dire situation is the ongoing issue of load shedding, now at stage 6. That means multiple power cuts a day, lasting hours at a time. Businesses are taking huge financial hits. Shops can't refrigerate goods. Small businesses can't operate efficiently. Manufacturing and logistics sectors are losing productivity. And for communities, these blackouts have a much darker consequence. Many water pumping stations can't function without electricity, meaning that in some areas, people are experiencing water outages in addition to being without power. It's a compounding crisis: no electricity, no water, skyrocketing prices, and no concrete solutions. On the streets, frustration has boiled over. Major protests have erupted in provinces like Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Eastern Cape. What started as peaceful demonstrations demanding better service delivery and economic relief has, in some areas, escalated into chaos. Roads have been blocked. Shops looted. Clashes between protesters and police have left neighborhoods in disarray. Some citizens are simply desperate, and desperation, as history has shown us, can be dangerous when left to fester. People are not just protesting power cuts or the rising cost of living. They're protesting what many see as a complete failure of government, a failure to lead, to act, and to care. In an attempt to calm the nation, President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the country on Thursday evening. He acknowledged the energy crisis, the economic hardships, and the civil unrest. He promised swift action, pledging investments in infrastructure, more aggressive reforms at Eskom, and a renewed focus on curbing inflation and job creation. But here's the problem: these promises sound all too familiar. South Africans have heard them before. From energy reforms to job summits, anti-corruption drives to economic stimulus packages, the cycle of promise and disappointment has left many deeply skeptical. There's a growing feeling that government words are no longer enough. People want results. They want to see electricity flowing, jobs being created, and leaders held accountable. Let's talk about Eskom, the state-owned power utility that has become a symbol of national dysfunction. Years of mismanagement, corruption, lack of maintenance, and political interference have turned what was once a global energy success story into a cautionary tale. Eskom's problems are deeply rooted, and despite multiple leadership changes and billions in bailouts, the crisis continues to worsen. Experts say a complete restructuring of Eskom is long overdue. But that's easier said than done, especially in a politically charged environment where unions, private interests, and public sentiment all pull in different directions. Meanwhile, international observers are beginning to pay closer attention. Several global agencies have issued statements expressing concern over South Africa's stability. Investors are jittery. The rand has taken a hit. And foreign confidence in the country's economy is beginning to wane. This is not just a local problem anymore. South Africa is a key player on the African continent and an essential member of BRICS. Its stability matters, not just for its citizens, but for the broader region and global partnerships. And let's not forget unemployment, the silent crisis that underpins so much of this unrest. The unemployment rate remains among the highest in the world, with youth unemployment reaching catastrophic levels. For many young South Africans, the future feels hopeless. They're educated, ambitious, and yet unable to find work. And in a country where joblessness is tied directly to inequality, crime, and social unrest, this is a ticking time bomb. To make matters worse, wage growth has been stagnant. While the cost of living climbs, salaries remain flat. It's a squeeze that's pushing more and more middle-class families into poverty. So, where do we go from here? What happens next? That depends largely on leadership, not just from the top, but across every level of government, civil society, and the business sector. There's a desperate need for unity, transparency, and a willingness to make difficult decisions. Short-term solutions won't cut it anymore. South Africa needs structural reform, bold, fearless, and fast. We need reform in energy, economic policy, governance, and accountability. We need to invest in skills development, support small businesses, and rebuild trust between the state and its people. And most importantly, we need leaders who are willing to put the country before party interests or personal gain. As this week comes to an end, the mood in the country remains tense and uncertain. But there's also hope that this moment of crisis might finally be the wake-up call we need. That amid the chaos, a new kind of leadership might emerge. One that listens. One that acts. One that builds. We'll be keeping a close eye on the developments, and we encourage all our viewers to stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay hopeful. That's it for today's deep dive. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more updates, and let us know in the comments how you think South Africa can overcome these challenges. Until then, take care, stay strong, and as always, see you next time.